Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is Mollie Carmichael here. Happy holidays to everyone. If I sound a little froggy, I'm just recovering from a monster cold and flu. But happy to be here. And again, happy holidays. Before we begin, of course, we'll send you the recording. If you have any questions at the end, please let us know. You can throw questions in the chat while we go. And then we'd love to hear from you. There's actually a QR code at the end that you can provide us comments. So here's the agenda for today. We're going to hit a little bit about us, and we can't do this without our sponsors. So we're going to hear from a sponsor today. And then I'm going to hit high-level buyer demographics. And the reason for that is kind of where is the master plan development going? Why are these master plans successful in these locations and their target consumer groups? Then we're going to look at the top 10 master plans, and we'll do a high level of 25, and then we're going to do a deep dive of the 10. And then we're going to look at just briefly, how did that change by region? And then last but not least, I have 17 master plan trends that I think you'll find fun and interesting. So with that, for those of you, of course, hopefully you're familiar with all of this, Building Product Pro, Enterprise, and Mortgage Pro. We also have a new update with the master plan community profiles. We have the top 100 CBSA market reports, and we also have a substantial performance upgrade. So please check that out and talk to our team. Don't forget, Livable, if you don't know about it, it was previously BuzzBuzz Homes. It's free to list. It's North America's largest online new home listing destination. You can get free leads, and it's exclusively new home construction. The innovation that is there and that is coming for Livable, I can't tell you how blown away I am at how cool this is going to be. So check it out. It's awesome. And then, of course, we have Zonda Virtual. So previously Alpha Vision, we have some of the best 3D technology out there. And again, joining those two forces together, or if you want to use it individually, it's pretty neat. We have interactive floor plans and site plans. We have customizable 3D home renderings, virtual reality that's now very immersive and interactive, which is so cool. And then, of course, we can help with digital sales centers. So from our advisory team, these are some of the senior leaders in the advisory team, but there is a whole lot of other people that support the 5 of us. But all things possible, we're here to help you. No task too small or too large. We do a lot in product segmentation and residual analysis, and I can't tell you how much we're doing in the single family for rent world. I, of course, do a lot of product positioning, amenities, and kind of with the crazy market out there. And then I don't think anyone out there is better at multifamily than Kimberly Byram and her team. There's all kinds of things we can help you with. So again, before we begin, we can't do this without our sponsors. Our sponsor today is actually Runway, and you'll see there's a ton of things that they can actually provide to us. Last time I showed you kind of the high level stuff, but we're going to actually show you just a short video here real quick. And Amanda from our team is actually going to show that to you now. It's really cool though. I think you'll really like it. Once again, immersive and very interactive. So pretty neat out there. How cool is that? One of the things I really love about that is one of the number one things I hear from our consumers today is just not just they want to see their home, but they want to see what's around it and how that feels together. And what a great way to do that. So let's dive into the presentation today. we're going to go into, just jump to the next one. We're actually going to look at just high level buyer demographics. And the only reason for this is as you're looking for the next 5 years, who you're focused on. I've talked a lot about this in past webinars, but we're perfectly aligned despite some of the changes that are going on in the market that are a little bit cuckoo. The big difference is this time, the 25 to 40-year-old demographics, it's the biggest demographic followed by the next really most affluent demographic, and that's 55 to 64. So we have the most mobile, we have the most affluent, perfectly primed, I think, for a good market. Well, I know you're not going to read every one of these percentages. All I did here simply was I took all of our regions and I said, okay, who are the top in population today? And you'll see all markets except for Florida and the Northeast. It's really that sort of young Gen Y forming families, and a close number second are growing families. So again, they're most mobile. They have to move. Their houses are exploding. And then in Florida and the Northeast, heavily weighted to those young boomers, high wealth. We're seeing lots of movement from the Northeast, of course, the Midwest, all of those things. Phoenix, Vegas, and all of those areas are also benefiting from that buyer. When we look at our actually consumer research, and our consumer research is based on all new home shoppers out there in the universe looking for a new home, you will see that younger buyer does not have a lot of choice in sort of the forming new families, young Gen Y. So the number one shoppers out there today are really tweeners. Those are those growing families, still typically under high school. Again, they're exploding at the seams looking for a new home. And then in Florida, the Northwest, Midwest, and Northeast, quite a few of the mature couples are exiting families. A lot of the Midwest tends to move to Florida, as many of you know, or the Carolinas. But I really believe there's a great opportunity to do something great in markets like Minnesota, where there's huge net worth, and you'll see that in the Midwest and particularly Minnesota. We did something really super exciting there. I think there's opportunity there as well. So when we look at household growth, you can see a lot of that is pushing west. Of course, some into Texas, Florida, Nashville, and of course along the East Coast. It's interesting that those middle states have the least amount of household growth, but they've tended to be the least desirable too. So there's not a lot of pressure there as well. When we look at population growth, again, kind of the same thing, pushing west or south. Florida certainly seeing some great benefits there. And you can see how the populations are changing there. Maricopa, Collin, Riverside, Fort Bend, Williamson, a lot of California, Texas, and Arizona is where we're seeing some of those big growths, but the affordable markets for sure of California. When we look at net migration, it doesn't look that different, but you'll see even bigger numbers coming to Florida. Again, those inland markets for California or Phoenix and Vegas have really benefited from high equity dollars moving out of California and going to the next closest place. When we look at actually who's losing, it's really Los Angeles, New York, some of those really expensive markets where it's just tough. High tax markets, things like that. So again, you'll see a lot of California, New York, California, California, California. So a lot of movement there. Same thing from a migration perspective. It's a little bit different, so I thought I'd show you both, but a lot of loss in those really expensive markets. So where do you focus? I made kind of the stars bigger for the most, for the markets that are really benefiting the most. And I still kept that star up there in the Midwest because I think there's opportunity there, specifically in Minnesota, done right. But most of that growth is pushing down. And as when we really look at sort of who to focus in those different markets, it is mostly those younger segments, but of course, Florida, Vegas, Phoenix, California with the right product and opportunity, and up in the Northwest, some move down as well for sure. So let's look at the top 10 master plans. You know, we have so much great data. And I always go back for this presentation and ask myself, like, really, I don't really care about the numbers, the actual, number itself. I'm really looking at kind of who did it best this year and who made the most money. And that's different between a developer and a builder, right? And why? And what are the strategies I think we can take forward? So I looked at the top 10 and said, what are big strategies from there? But then I also looked at what are the big strategies and where is the future pushing us from a master plan development perspective. So from a methodology perspective, we have access to sales starts and closings, not just sales. And you're going to see why sales really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, particularly for this year. And we were able to cover most geographies, but there are some geographies that frankly just don't make sense and just aren't in our database. So, but for the most part, we have the majority of new homes throughout the country. The very first thing we looked at were reported sales. Now we get that from the neighborhoods and we roll that up to the master plan. So what they report to us through to the third quarter, that's what we have from a sales perspective today. Now we'll roll that up again come end of year and into January and report that again. Starts, it's a physical field observation. We have people checking every single lot out there, and that's based on sort of trenching has started. We know there's movement on that lot. Once it's started, it's kind of locked and loaded. I mean, the bullet's in the gun there. You got to pull the trigger. It's just at what price. So that's a really big one to track. That's how we tracked it last year. But lots of discussion on this inside. The last one is closings. And that's kind of the best measure of everything. But the concern is, are we capturing everything that happened in 2022? But that too is a physical field observation. We make sure, there's a car in the driveway or lights, there's some sign of occupancy there. And then we also validated a second time with a deed. So we've got these three great resources. And then I looked at it and said, okay, if we looked at sales, does that make a whole lot of sense for us? Well, when you look at like markets like Denver, we had 63% cancellation in sales. When you look at Las Vegas, we've got 34% cancellation in sales. Southern California is like 25% cancellation in sales. Phoenix, Tucson's 55% cancellation sales. So in my opinion, to really track this with sales data, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm looking at performance, who's doing it right. And really what I'm looking at is who's making money today. And when we look at these three categories, not only can we validate starts and closings, we double validate basically. But starts represents really the developers closed on lots and they made money in 2022. And closing represents, hey, the builder closed on that house. It's a real deal. And they made revenue in 2022. So I kind of feel like those two are stronger. But with the benefit of all three of those data sets, we said, let's combine them together and we're going to come up with a top master plan ranking by blending all three of those. And we think that's really the most valid, strongest, and pretty neat that we can actually report on that. So here we go. I'm going to show you the first 25 and then we'll do a deep dive on the top 10. So based on the top 25 master plans, you could see this in the demographics. Everything's pushing south, and there it is. Texas, Florida, affordable parts of California, some even not so affordable in California. The Southwest, we're seeing lots in Vegas, even in Salt Lake. So you can actually see those tops. Number one, without a doubt, 4 times greater than anybody else. It's pretty stupendous with the Villages, maybe not quite 4 times. Lakewood Ranch, stellar performance from them. Summerlin's always up there. Cane Bay Plantation, Ontario Ranch, Silverleaf. Babcock is absolutely one of my favorites, and Folsom Ranch. So when we look at those top 10, you can actually see those kind of closer up and in person. There's so many things we'd love to talk about in this webinar today, but we only have so much time. So we're going to focus on the top 10. I also wanted to show you, just in case you wanted to see the detail, who won for sales, starts, and closings and how we got to that. If you look at sales, the only difference is 5 points. Valencia would have been up in 8. On top of the world would have gone from 10 to 9, and Inspirada would have made it in there. If we focused on starts, Silverado, Sonterra, and Centero are those. But I will tell you, one of the biggest changes from 2022 to 2021, remember the days when you were selling well above starts and you couldn't keep up with it, and we were all complaining we couldn't get subcontractors there fast enough, and frankly to the degree that costs were actually growing faster. and we couldn't keep up with closings, just given our sales volume. Well, this year's different. We actually have quite a few where master plans are actually behind in sales, and now we have more starts because of that high cancellation rate. And so again, the blend of these, we think is the right approach here. And you'll actually see the very last one. The biggest difference in closings is Folsom Ranch had a huge year in 2021, but they're seeing a lot more starts than sales this year. So that's what really sort of pulls them down. Villages of Irvine, part of it's their model, but their closings for the next year or two, they're really close to selling out for sure. Welland Park, one of my favorites out there, still made it to number 9 for sure. And then Cadence is actually in the Las Vegas market, didn't quite make it when we sort of blended all of those together. Again, more starts than actually closings. And so, or more starts than actually sales. And so that kind of pulled it down as well. So when we looked at that, I kind of wanted to share that a little bit. And now some of this could be strategy driven or not, but the villages are not only super successful with sales and closings, but they're well ahead as it relates to their sales. And they still, even in this market, cannot keep up with starts. So that's pretty phenomenal. Latitude in Daytona, same thing. 5 Point Valencia, same thing. Valley Vista, same thing. Now, the ones where literally there could be less pressure and some concern that pricing could get a little bit softer, you can see as we start getting down into the redder areas, we have more starts than actually sales. But for builders out there who need to keep their pipeline going, those are great builders and developers out there to keep your eye on. So let's look at the top 10 master plans. The number 1 is, of course, the villages. For those of you who don't know them, a huge master plan. It's been one of the fastest selling master plans forever. You can actually go back in time, and I'll show you some of the background here. From a population perspective, this really took off in 2000. So between 2000 and 2010, it went from 8,333 homes to over 50,000 homes in a 10-year period. Then catapult that even more growth from 2010 to 2022. We're now at about 139,000 plus in population, and the projections for the villages area is 452,000. Again, remarkable growth out in this area. And let's look at why. First of all, I'm going to show you the lifestyle and amenities. It's insane what you can get at the villages. It feels like you're living on the coast. You have so many golf courses here, and it's really affordable. You have 53 golf courses. 41 of them are executive, and the remaining, it's insane. You have 3 central retail squares and lifestyle squares that are just really adorable. You have music and dancing that goes with alcohol at 3 p.m. every day. I've never visited a community where I've seen more people smiling. It is mostly age restricted, and I've had this referenced as Disneyland for adults. In fact, I had one woman say her kids visit there and they don't even like to go to Disney World. They'd rather play at the villages. But look at these amenities, folks. This is why people are coming. 202 pickleball courts, as an example. Again, you have the 41 executive golf courses. You have 12 championship golf courses. There's just a whole lot here, and it's really well connected. And again, it feels like you're living on the coast. Look at the image in the lower right-hand area. Those bodies are huge. You can see the dancing in the squares. That happens every day. Great fitness, walking, and the social here is on fire. And of course, lots and lots of golf. So segmentation, interestingly, isn't huge. There's a wide range of square footages, but really 5 product offerings as they show it. We added a couple of charts on this just to show this a little more clearly, but the very bottom is actually sales absorption. So when you look at the bottom here, this is 0 sales all the way up to the highest absorption. So you can kind of see what's absorbing and what's not. Obviously, lowest absorptions are the most expensive. Their smaller lot product isn't selling as fast, but it's pretty darn close in price, I think, to what you can get in the larger lots. So, and the majority of the highest selling stuff, it's really under 400,000. So there's a part of their recipe as well. So the other part of it too is when you actually look at those same sales rates. So sales rates are now up on the left, square footage is on the bottom. You can see the average of these square footages are mostly under 1,800 square feet, which for the active adult buyer, I would tell you the fastest selling plans are 1,500 to 1,800 square feet. So some really great things there. And then what are really the big takeaways? Again, oh, I'm sorry. Let's get back here. As we look to the number 2, I almost missed this, I apologize. Lakewood Ranch is number 2. A really beautifully done master plan, a series of several different villages, many of them gated, but a lot of unique amenities here. One of the biggest reasons why I think, it really takes a village. They have 19 different villages here, to be exact. They have 55 neighborhoods. So talk about neighborhood segmentation. Pretty well located, highly amenitized. And I actually really like their marketing. I'm always surprised when I go onto different websites to try to figure out the community and how difficult these larger master plans can be to understand. But I think they did a really good job actually doing that. And again, a big why, it's 19 villages making this up. So you can actually see here, they have 3 different product types: towns, paired, home, single family, all kinds of amenities from clubhouse to pool, fitness center, lifestyle coordinator, dog parks, tot lots, golf, tennis, pickleball bars, age restricted, maintenance included, and then of course gated. So there's all kinds of different things they have here. This does not do this community justice because there's so many different amenities here. And so many different villages here. So you'd want to go through the 19 different villages, but here's some of the spectacular amenities they have. When you look at the price points that they offer, you'll actually see the majority of those price points are really in that just under 800,000, but it's a wide spread coming all the way down to 350 with a variety of different absorptions. Most of those absorptions are really in sort of that 1 to just over 5 a month for the most part. And when you look at square footages, again, I'm always focused on what's under 2,500 square feet. The top square footages that consumers want today, it's 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. And I think you're going to see that is where really many of those top absorptions are happening and where many of those plans are showing up and still absorbing very, very well. So again, why it takes a village. There's 55 neighborhoods, very well located, highly amenitized. And once again, as I said, great marketing. So now let's jump to Summerlin. This is another terrific master plan. It really feels even more than a city, but it is the nicest part for sure, as quoted by consumers in the Las Vegas area. It's a huge master plan with almost 90,000 homes. You have homes ranging today in the mid 2s to well over almost $3 million. So talk about interesting segmentation. They have amenities of all kinds. They have villages of all kinds. But one of the most common things I hear about Summerlin and why people really like it, it's not just the retail, it's not just great architecture, it's not just great planning, but you can see that bottom image there. They always talk about how much greener Summerlin is. And I think that just provides sort of a mental relief in that location. So again, there's about 230 parks. There's 24 public and private schools. There's tons of different workshops there and golf courses, and obviously a ton of entertainment. You can see all of the different segmentation they have here. Again, it covers a wide gamut. As we look at some of that stuff, you'll see the majority of it's under 2,500 square feet. That's what the yellow represents. And as you see where the absorptions actually are, you'll actually see most of the absorptions are happening 750,000 in price or below. And then if we look at the absorptions by size, once again, that's what it looks like, 25 square feet and less. And you're going to see a very tight correlation again to that 750 and below and where those absorptions are. So again, why Summerlin? Oops. 6 actively selling villages. You've got really nice landscaping, and there's 6 active, but there's several more than that. Really beautiful landscaping, extremely well planned, strong amenities and master plan design, and of course, plenty of entertainment throughout, not just Las Vegas itself, but really in the suburban areas. I mean, more of some beautiful entertainment there. And frankly, at the end of the day, a lot of choice for a very extremely inexpensive price compared to California. And a lot of California fuels the growth in the Vegas market and also the Phoenix market. So now number 4, we're moving to Cane Bay Plantation. Again, this is just over 13,000 homes priced from 170 to 570 in price. There's about 11 projects active today. And this is actually in the Charleston area. You'll actually see lots and lots of master plans. There's some pretty unique things they did there too. They have a huge Y, as I recall, some really nice big central amenities. But as you look at some of the reasons why, part of it is their segmentation. So they have some nice segmentation there. But again, look at the price points. I mean, 425 and below. And really, as you look to some of the highest absorptions, I mean, you're sitting in that almost just over 350. So a big part of this, I think, has to do with price. And as you look at home sales by sales rate, you'll see the majority of it, once again, are under 2,500 square feet. So one of the big reasons why: strong affordability, under 425, waterfront living in almost every home. So when you look at the site plan for Cane Bay, if you want to live on the water, this is a great community because almost every single home is on the water. There's no taxes on Social Security in South Carolina, plus you get a $10,000 retirement income deduction, and active adult and all ages products. So lots of choice there. Now, Ontario Ranch, this is an interesting one. I almost feel like this shouldn't be called one master plan because it really has, much like the village concept in a lot of these different ones, the very different parts of this one is it's several different developers, and not all of it really, in my opinion, feeling connected, but it is considered a master plan. It is ranking as number 5. There's projected to be almost 50,000 homes planned here. Today, home prices range in the mid-4s to the low 9s. That sounds expensive, but when you look at the prices in Orange County and LA, this is where people go for affordability. This market has recently been hit very, very hard, though. A little bit of a standstill out there today. There's about 18 projects active and fighting for every sale just with what's going on because of interest rates. But all kinds of different amenities out here, extremely family-centric in this area. There is some active adult, not a lot. This is very, very much a choice for families seeking affordability. They want to live in a single-family detached home, and they could be commuting to Orange County and LA, but definitely a bedroom community to that area. You can see the segmentation there, literally all the way down to Park Lane, all the way down here. Most of those homes are under 2,500 square feet. So again, really targeting that affordability, but much smaller lot sizes. Look how much smaller those lot sizes are to accommodate what in California terms is very affordable. So on average, most of those lot sizes average 3,000 or less. When you look at actually the sales prices, you'll see much of them are 500 to 800, again, affordable for this location. And you can see how those sales absorptions change. Interestingly enough, we see somewhat of a trend going up, even despite the fact that the prices are getting higher. But again, it's all about what they can afford, what their choices are. And it's really hard to find a house in Orange County under $900,000 today. LA, same thing. When we look at sales rates, again, look at all of those homes sitting under 2,400 square feet. Well, they'd have to be because most of those lots are 3,000 square feet or smaller. So the big whys: affordable location adjacent to equity-rich coastal Southern California markets. We have several villages selling different lifestyles. It's the first gigabyte community in the region. It's not the only one. I know there's a lot of other communities doing this as well. So high-speed internet and all of that. Number 6 is actually Silverleaf. Ooh, I'm going to go back there just for a second. If I can go back there. So planned for this one, 17,000 homes. Homes range from the high twos to just over $1 million. So a wide range of price segmentation. It's in St. Augustine, Florida. So a really nice location, pretty close to job centers, things like that. And homes range from 1,200 to almost 4,000 square feet. You'll actually see they did a phenomenal job with this huge water park, a lot of different choices as it relates to water. It's very common. If you want to see some of the best pools, water experiences out there, see all the experiences, the master plans all the way up and down the coast on both sides for Florida, because they really do it well when it comes to water experience. It's very, very family centric. Lots of segmentation, as you can see. You'll actually see that they have approximately 34 active communities in this community, and most of those very affordably priced, particularly for this location. You can actually see much of that is priced between about $425,000 up to $700,000, and for this location, that's actually very good. It's close to a pretty strong employment center, and you have access to everything. So it's not considered a tertiary location. Silverleaf, when you look at it by square footages, it's actually got a pretty wide range across the board, really up to about 3,000 square feet. Again, indicating there's a lot more families in this area, and this community is definitely designed for family. So why waterfront living throughout the community? You've got several villages and quite a few neighborhoods offering a lot of choice, strong schools for the state of California or for the state of Florida, and you have no additional CDD fees with low property taxes. So really good, and part of that's probably its location. Babcock Ranch is number 7. It's one of my favorites for sure. It has 19 actively selling communities or neighborhoods today. It's going to have up to just about 20,000 homes planned there, and priced from the mid twos to well over 2 million. I think that's so exciting. Going back to our planning days back in the past on this one, for this team, I just smile on this one. There was a point where they never thought they'd get that high, and I had huge beliefs that they would. So their amenities are fantastic. For example, I love the fact that they have more of a kind of a wellness or healthy focus in their community. Their square is designed perfectly for its growth, and they set it up to where it can grow over time. They have like a farm to table experience and one of their restaurants. They have a tremendous fitness community, walking trails throughout, and their water bodies, much like the villages, even though this is 45 minutes inland, I mean, it feels like you're sitting on the coast. So they created a coastal environment inland, but you get much more affordable prices. So look at this, you can get prices in the mid twos, but yes, there are spectacular, custom, beautiful homes going well over $2 million. And when you look at those, absorptions might be slower, but those are really for those that want choice and are really picking the lifestyle they want. So when we actually look at price points, you'll actually see most of those homes are selling under 600,000, even though we do have some of the unique ones up here way well over $1 million. And you'll see from a sales rate perspective as it relates to footages, most of those are under, again, that 24 to 2,500 square feet. So just sort of a magic size. The reason I constantly check that is that's what our consumer insights tells us. The top percentage of people, or the majority of people, really want homes from 1,500 to 2,500, as I mentioned before. So why is this community so successful? Well, I think it's one of the most innovative. Check out their, they've got very strong community focus on things like multimodal choices, energy, really taking a lot of the solar off the grid. There's the lifestyle is fantastic. The square is fantastic. They have a wide range of segmentation, as I mentioned, amongst villages and products. They have a terrific town center, and it's not so expensive that it's, dragging down the HOA. And again, excellent amenities, excellent planning. Number 8, Folsom Ranch. Now this one, the units planned for this one are over 11,000. Homes are priced in the low fives to over $1.2 million. Once again, the Sacramento market is really gaining a lot of their equity coming from the Bay Area. A lot of that money is moving into the Sacramento area or pushing up to Reno. And that's really what's driving a lot of the success of home sales, of course, and master plan success here. They have 13 communities active. This one's had a little bit more challenges recently, much like the Ontario ranch community, where homes have actually, we've seen more cancellation rate here. But I do think as we sort of work through and interest rates stabilize, I think game will be back on for sure. So some really interesting amenities here. You'll see, as I mentioned, a lot of segmentation going from the 5s, well over $1 million here. You'll actually see the majority of those homes, though, are still priced $900,000 and below. Now, for this location, again, because all of that wealth that's coming out of the Bay Area, this is affordable, believe it or not, by California standards. Sales absorptions, again, the place to be, the majority are under that 2,500 square feet. So why here? Several villages offering unique lifestyles. It's affordable for Bay Area, migrants coming over to, they can't afford the $2.5 million average sized home. And, they're looking for something great and a great lifestyle for their kids. I love Sacramento for the family lifestyle. And last but not least, it's very attractive for Intel's Folsom campus too. There's a big campus there. We're getting to the end. 9, Welland Park. So this used to be called West Villages. It was a conglomeration of a lot of different villages there. Mattamy actually has this community. They have over 22,000 homes. Now look at this pricing. So high 100s to high 800s. This community, I think, has really taken a big change with their new management team. They've really created a strong sense of arrival. They have a retail center there that's now vibrant, that's now connecting what used to feel like all these bifurcated communities. Now Welland Park and their retail center or their town square really is just a huge turn for this community. And they were selling well before, but now it's spectacular. So you can see their whole new retail community set up on the water. You can see they've got parks and entertainment. And once again, I would say one of the biggest things I like about this community today versus 5 years ago is this is the connection they were missing. There wasn't a lot of great retail there. So a lot of different villages with different product types here, again, ranging in the mid 2s all the way up to close to 900,000. And you'll actually see from an absorption perspective, most of them are selling really in that 2 to 5. A lot of these are active adults. Not all of them are active adults. Some are age targeted, but I would say 80% plus really are in sort of that retirement mode for this location in Venice, Florida. From a sales rate perspective, you will see the majority of those plans are under 2,400 to keep that price affordable and attractive for people to migrate. This is what I would call the real coastal version of the villages. I think it's one of those secrets that I think more should know about that are going to the villages and really should take a turn and come there. So why this location? They are now the Atlanta Braves spring training location or facility. They have great village and product segmentation with a lot of choice and really very different village feels. They now have a new modern retail town center that gives those villages a reason to come together. And frankly, finally sort of a there for this location that's really well done and a variety of price points. So a lot of choice. Last but not least, this was a new one for me on top of the world. I'm going to call this the mini me of the villages. It's another 55 plus community, not terribly far away. Total units planned over 45,000, high hundreds to high 400s. Today, they have 8 actively selling projects. You have tons and tons and tons of amenities. here and lots of choice for you. And you can see, obviously, from a price point perspective, much like the villages, very similar price points, mid twos to the high fours. Why them? They're 15 miles from the villages. So again, it's another choice. They have an extensive amenity package with lots of opportunities. And I would tell you, it's affordable. The big difference between this, though, as you compare to the villages, they don't have nearly the same amenities, like the huge bodies of water that make you feel like you're on the coast, but they're doing something right because they're selling well. And I think a big portion of that is not only really well done amenities and some of those things, but I think pricing is certainly helping them as well. So now let's jump into the top 17. One last thing, just your top master plans by region. So as you look to the Northwest, Midwest, Northeast, Southeast, and Florida, you can actually see those top 3. I won't read them there, but if you didn't make the top 10 and you're sitting in the Midwest, for example, you can actually see, number 1 in the Midwest was Stone Mill Farms, followed by Cambridge Lakes, and then Jerome Village. That was literally based on starts. But if we did that blended ranking, which we actually think is the right way to do this, you'll see the top 3 were the same for the Midwest, but you will start to see that change as you look to different areas like California and the rest. Now let's look at the top 17 master plan trends. So the very first thing I think for success, if you didn't hear it, certainly a large body of land helps this, but a variety of segmentation, and that variety of segmentation has to happen in village segmentation and neighborhood segmentation, and they can sit right next door to each other. So Lakewood Ranch is a great example of this. It's about lifestyle choices, and it could even be styled differently, but village segmentation and product segmentation. Number 2, an easy one, just add water. You could see that obviously all 10 had spectacular water features. This is Babcock Ranch. This is another community outside of the 10, but beautiful water features will always pull people in. Look at the coast. I mean, that's exactly what happens on the coast. Number 3, outdoor unique experiences. It doesn't have to be spectacular, but it has to be a place where people want to join together. This is a 22 to the acre townhome community, and they called this their backyard. I mean, this is such a great experience. The outdoor experience that Pecan Square has in Texas, that Hillwood just knocked it out of the park with such a beautiful community. Rancho Mission Viejo, I loved this. It's a little place you can take your kids to, they can spend the night, do a little camp out without having to set everything up, and people can roast marshmallows. Pump tracks. I am so surprised how high pump tracks are rating in our consumer feedback. Daybreak is now bringing in a pump track, and kids and adults, just a fun place to go with adventure. But it doesn't have to be outrageous. Again, it's those retail experiences they want, or frankly, just sitting on the porch and having a cup of coffee with a friend. Number 4, if they can afford it, they have to be able to afford it or they can't play. So over 60% of the communities, over 60% of those communities are actually under 600,000 in price. So that's a really big deal. And these are just the quick numbers. If I take $700,000, the shift in rates today has had a pretty impact, as all of you know, on monthly payments. So about 60% if you were at 6.5%, almost 60, a little over 60% here. But what does it do to real price? And if we take that same monthly payment and drive to the same monthly payment at the 6.58%, it's hit prices 37%. Most markets have seen anywhere between 10 to 15, maybe some up to 25%. But the reality is it's not been hit a full 37. But nonetheless, next year, affordability is everything. When we look at this by market, again, so many have been hit pretty hard, but the Florida markets got hit the hardest. So really playing through those will be very important. You can see those up at the top in the 80% plus. So here's something Babcock Ranch did. Just a cute, small, attractive home It's really all they want. So 72% of all plans are under 2,600 square feet. So number 5, focus on the family, all life stages. So again, Babcock Ranch, just splash pads, places to walk with your kids, hang out, play, even Kissimmee, which is an all active adult community, just fun little playful spaces for kids to really enjoy. Oops, I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if I can get that back up there. Okay. So trend number 6, physical and mental wellness. And more than half of Americans suffer from loneliness today, and 82% want mental health, not just physical health. So how do we do that? You know, it's a place just to throw the ball with your dad, maybe a yoga space where that water exists. Farm to table experiences are certainly huge. I mean, what a great experience this is. Even I loved this one. You know, I love these rooftop gardens, and certainly you're not going to do these in a ton of master plans in the US, but they did this actually because it helps bring the temperature down too. So there's all kinds of different uses just for green, but all of you are very aware of the huge numbers that support clean air, clean water, whole house everywhere. That also should be taken into your amenities as well. Accommodate work-life balance. That's number 7. The big stat is 50% of your employees, they just want a hybrid today. So they want to spend 2 to 3 days a week, either at the office or at home. So that club experience is really changing. So it's not just that desolate club that's kind of empty, but really bringing some of that grab and go. I can do my homework there. I can actually do my work there and really meet my neighbors at the same time. This is Babcock Ranch's WeWork space on the 2nd floor in their little town center. You know, just a neat place to get away if you don't want to be stuck in your house. Number 8, the club evolution. So we just talked about that just now. This is beautiful, but I will tell you the number one reason people won't buy in an active adult community like this is it's missing people. And this will always attract people. Food attracts people, people attract people. And so I really think this is the future evolution of the club. Number 9, art feeds the soul for sure. You know, just having those kind of outdoor entertainment experiences for sure, but just texture, color, and character. I touched on this one last year. It's so important. And art and play for the kids, it just means so much to them. And I mean for the parents and the kids too. Number 10, security is evolving. So we're seeing these little guys actually be super successful. So it's no longer the roving patrol guy or the gates, but this little guy is constantly going through the neighborhood and actually had an arrest in Phoenix last month because it's constantly seeing everything 360. Even as you're coming in and out of a community, it doesn't need a gate, but if you were to record every license plate coming in and coming out, if anything happens, you have that recorded. Number 11 is seamless technology. I don't have to, you know, blow this whistle anymore. Obviously, security we talked about this piece as well. But the other part to it is just having that technology everywhere. Number 12, dogs are moving up, are definitely moving up, and so are pets. Dog parks. You can see even the Ritz-Carlton accepts dogs and loves dogs. You're seeing it everywhere. I don't have to tell you that. Trend number 3, save your energy. So we do know that solar is coming throughout the country for sure. People are so interested in saving money, but they're also really interested in control. So the Tesla home battery and Babcock Ranch, how they addressed it, because they are so solar friendly and off the grid and all the things they're doing there, they made it cute. I mean, they made it an artful piece as well as not just solar. Plugins, this is just going to continue to grow for sure. And even we're seeing now, as cool as, you know, Tesla is today and so many of these electric cars, I do suspect we're going to continue to see the trend for all electric homes continue to grow as well, even though 80% today still want electric and gas. 14, multimodal. So again, the villages, more people get around in these great little golf carts. They have fun with it, makes it super easy and convenient. Bikes, this is Palmetto Bluff, but a lot of communities like Great Park Neighborhoods really promotes biking and walking and all those kinds of things. Babcock Ranch even has driverless vehicles taking kids to school. So that's really evolving. And then last but not least, you have cul-de-sac in Phoenix that doesn't allow cars altogether. And it's really targeted to a younger audience, but just unique and different. And I think for somebody who really believes in that and is using all kinds of different transportation, that's fine. Number 15, we're getting to the end here, folks. Seamless living and just an easier life. So again, this is technology, technology, technology. So we're going to have over 80 billion connected devices in 2025. People want Wi-Fi that really works, but I will tell you, they still want Cat5 connections for stability. So I would not abandon the Cat5 connection either, not quite yet. But how do I connect my community and all things wireless, from access to the club, the WeWork space, if I want to go there at 2 a.m, whatever it is, it needs to be seamless. Number 16, we're really seeing an interesting shift to immersive experience, but real life in so many different ways. So this is a great art exhibit. I showed this at Future Place. And for anybody on this call from a master plan perspective who wants to get involved with our Future Place event that we have, it was phenomenal this year. And I hope you go next year. But there was all kinds of shares on different things, but immersive experiences that are just special. I mean, this could be an amenity that kids get to go play. Even just taking your fitness component without having to bring in somebody and making this a wall-to-wall fitness experience. And they could be doing it at the beach in this particular case. If you don't have golf, but you're near a golf course and you want to expand on and promote that you're near golf, throw in, a virtual putting green, or in this case, driving range. Coming to Las Vegas, I love this. Gaming is so popular with these young Gen Ys. I mean, I would say all generations to a large degree today. Atari is actually building a hotel in Las Vegas, and I'm not suggesting you throw this hotel in every master plan, but take some of the ideas that they have here, and what do you do that's outrageous from a gaming perspective? Gaming today, kids are getting scholarships for gaming. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And last but not least, this really should be number one. Teach them well and give them choices. Now, I want to touch on this. We just came off of 2 years where kids were learning at home and learning all kinds of different ways to learn. And we really can't allow our kids to actually be educated in the categories that they want to specialize in. Frankly, it's where they excel. We have adults and children that are right brain, or more left brain. Cultivate that, give them those experiences. And even in these bigger master plans where you can actually specialize some of those schools. One of my favorite things about the Valencia master plan in Santa Clarita is they have several different schools that families will move into their villages because somebody wants to specialize in technology. Their kid loves that, or they have another child that's really into sort of the arts and things like that. So think about that as you're planning your neighborhoods and plan your education accordingly. There's just so many great ways that I think you can make that a special part of your community. And by the way, everyone on this call, your responsibility is for hundreds of years to come. It's so impressive to see what's out there. So congratulations to the top 10. And I really push all of you out there that are in these planning modes and any help that we can provide in that, we would love to participate. I love this stuff. And we're constantly looking at new ideas all over the country to report them back to you. With that in mind, we actually have our consumer survey running this month. We continue to run this so that we can bring some of these great experiences back to you and tell you what people are really wanting, not just in home, but in community amenities, and what are they really willing to pay for. So please call me or email me if you want to be involved in that. It's free. It's like the easiest thing you can do as a master plan developer. The other thing we have coming up is we have some really great events coming up. So take a look at some of the events that are coming here. If you go on to zondahome.com, we also have an event section there. All of our events are actually there. Any of you who are interested in looking for frames, we also have a special website for that as well. Last but not least, I just want to thank you guys all for spending the last hour with me. There's a little QR code there. If there's anything you want to know more about, or we can help you, please reach out to me. I'd love to do that. And so would everybody on our team. So I see we've got a couple of questions here. I'll just hit them. I'm just going to read them without clicking. So do you and your clients work with community engagement software like Bang the Table from Granicus or Co-Urbanize? Full disclosure, in the future, I might be a client of one of these companies as a founder. I don't know it, would love to know it, and would happily, if you want to send me an email, would love to know more about it, but I will definitely look that up. The other question that came up is, what are common key amenities these top master plans have? So we literally track every master plan amenity in every single community, and we can give you that specifically. That would have been another hour, Tom. So I wished I could have given you that in great detail, but it's quite detailed when you've got like 19 villages. So let me help you with that for sure. How is the mix of these communities of owner-occupied tenants? So it really depends on the master plan developer. Oftentimes, I worked for the Irvine company for 10 years. We didn't let anybody stay owner-occupied. So that one didn't work. Also, had somebody do a shout out for Future Play saying it was so awesome. I'd love to have you guys back. Thank you for that comment. And then we are not distributing the slideshow today. We do have the recording. If I can help you in anything, please let me know. I would be happy to provide that to you. Any other questions? Have you guys visited these communities, or this is more of a data collection? So every single community that you see here, I've seen all of them but 2 in person, and I have seen most of them. So it's not just data collection. We do have a master plan database as part of Zonda and Enterprise, and it's phenomenal, the kind of information you can have. So I would say it's a conglomeration of both. Most of Tim and I, and a lot of the senior folks have seen most of these communities multiple times. And I would tell you, I've worked on most of them too. So definitely not just a data collection. And I got to thank you for being insightful. Thank you too. Thank you guys all for joining. I really appreciate it. That's it. Any other questions, please email me directly. Amanda, Valerie, do you guys have anything to add? Other than that, we'll conclude today's show. And I just can't thank you guys enough for joining us.